Hey, this is Jeff, and welcome back to the Coito Ergo Sum DLC crossover. We're starting Old World Blues today, and that module is new, so I'll be beta testing as we go. And right away we have a message. The Coito Ergo Sum Old World Blues crossover requires Coito Ergo Sum version 4.2 or higher to function correctly. It appears that you are running an older version of Coito Ergo Sum, and some crossover features will not work as expected or at all. It is strongly recommended that you quit and download the latest version of Coito Ergo Sum before proceeding. Despite my best efforts to future-proof the crossover interface, I had to make a few tweaks to the base mod to support the Old World Blues module. Those tweaks do exist in this beta, I just haven't updated the version number yet, mainly so I could show you this message. Because that's important. As it says, if you don't update Coito Ergo Sum before playing the Old World Blues crossover, some things you collect in the Big Empty won't work right when you get back to the Mojave. New content for the magazine, more dramatic patterns, and so on. I've tested those features in God mode using console commands to teleport to the relevant areas, but I haven't played the crossover from start to finish, so you never know what might crop up. Which brings us here to the drive-in, where a weird ad on the radio said they're showing midnight movies. Kakata thought that sounded great for a date night, but so far it's just been one continuous shot of an eye. Must be a Warhol movie. If I'd known, we could have brought one of our own, but I guess I could tinker with the satellite to see if it has any better movies available. The crashed satellite seems to be the source of the strange transmission you received. Old World Blues is recommended for experienced couriers, level 15+. You have a premonition that while you'll be unable to return to the Mojave until you solve the mysteries of the Big Empty, you will be able to take anything you can carry with you, and you will be able to return to the Big Empty anytime after completing Old World Blues. If you're up to the challenge and you have all you want to carry with you, examine the satellite a little closer. The atomic wonders of science await. So take a closer look. And as usual with the DLC, we get a lengthy slideshow explaining the backstory, so I'll see you on the other side. You feel strangely heavier. A quick inspection of your body reveals faint surgical scars around your head, chest, and back. That's not a good sign. And with that, we should be into the DLC proper. And this is either the first item for the bug list or a feature. I would have sworn the other modules dismiss companions when you start the relevant DLC, but I checked, and they don't. The back of my mind is telling me I might have asked on the Nexus forums back in the day, and there was a general preference to allow followers to come with you, but I can't rule out the possibility that it was just an oversight. On one hand, it kind of makes sense that if Elijah's trap caught two people at the start of Dead Money, Dog would just take them both to the Sierra Madre. In honest hearts, Jed probably wouldn't object to another gun as long as you didn't have to pay them. And if somebody's close enough to get caught in the teleporter beam, why wouldn't they end up here? On the other hand, the DLCs are balanced for playing without a companion, or in some cases with companions you pick up in the DLC, which is why the game does dismiss any vanilla companions you have with you when you start. I don't think I'm going to change it because you have the option of dismissing them manually before you start the DLC if you think the extra firepower would give you too much of an edge. On the other hand, I did add a bit of dialogue to explain the possible plot hole if you do want to bring somebody with you. Are you okay? It looks like somebody performed surgery on me, but not on you.
There was a scuffle, but we can deal with them together.
All right, goodbye.
See you later.
As we'll eventually discover, she's not the first person to come here and avoid being experimented on, so there's precedent in canon that she could have escaped, especially if our abductors were only expecting one victim. Helpful feature, or just a semi-plausible excuse for my laziness? You be the judge. Either way, I'm not going to start over and send Kakata back to Pahrump before I activated the satellite, but I probably won't take her out to explore the crater with me. Anyway, let's find out where we are and who brought us here. Our first stop is the sink, which will be our main base of operations for the duration. If you saw my Skills Dash series, I ended up making it my main player home. Personality files damaged or missing, insert backup holotape to restore files. So we can't actually use any of the devices in here yet. And it really is nice, but Courier Jeff will probably stick with the house in Pahrump. Little hydroponics lab, Should interest you, being a botanist and all. But we'll need a personality tape for that too, along with seeds. There's also an auto dock that we'll want to get working sooner rather than later. That door is locked for now. There's a bed and some other interactive objects in here, as well as storage containers for sorting loot. Very nice. But no sign of whoever abducted us. 2 more doors, and I think... yeah, the door to the outside is locked until we go into the think tank. So, let's go in. A strange feeling of pacifism comes over you, and you find you cannot draw your weapon for some reason. Because I'm not a very good artist? Sorry. But we're actually going to learn the real reason almost immediately, as soon as we go up this ramp and get force greeted by the think tank. And there they are.
I thought I heard the pacification field kick in. All right, shh. Nobody move. I'll handle this. Be warned, intruder. You are in the presence of a mighty think tank of Big Mountain. The collective geniuses of... we... By Oppenheimer, which one of you self-professed geniuses has been adjusting my volume knob? Who was it? Was it you, 8? Oh, Dr. O, was it? Likely story. O couldn't spark 2 neurons if they were in a lattice of biomed gel.
What? Me? Breaking news, Klein. It wasn't me, all right? I'm the robotical engineer. 8 is sound waves. That's his specialty. You always do this. You always demean me in front of guests. And it's not O, all right? It's...
Enough! Either of you do it again, it'll be the last time. Now... Great. Now I forgot what I was saying. What was I talking about?
Well, there's our next bug. We're having the conversation from inside Kakata's head. Probably need a trigger to hold her in place near the entrance until Klein Force greets you, so that can't happen. Anyway, are you the ones who performed this surgery on me?
Did it just say something? Anyone catch that? Boros, you work with animals. Translate. It's a lobotomite. Here, in the dome. Oh, as if this situation couldn't get any worse. Now we've got lobotomites. Dalla, get the spray before it excretes all over everything.
I don't know how much of this opening dialogue I'm going to cut because it's all pretty important plot-wise, and it's funny, but it's long, like more than a half hour if you don't skip. What's a lobotomite?
Dr. Klein, if my hypothesis is correct, this lobotomite is the repository of the brain we sent the signal to, the skinvelope once containing it. If so, it's proof that there may indeed be something beyond the crater. Just look at it. The way it blinks. It's like a big, hairless teddy bear.
I know what it is, Dollar. I want to know why it's down here. With its limbs all over everything. And are those penises I see wriggling on its feet? Disgusting.
I believe those are toes, Dr. Klein. Little teddy bear toes. Penises are much larger than those tiny extremities. Not that I would know.
I don't recall the human penis ever being that large.
It depends on one's own frame of reference, Dr. O. Look at its little nose with its 2 orifices for ingesting oxygen.
Noses? By the great static. These lobotomites confound me with their sheer number of useless extremities.
Okay. Based on that, I'm probably not going to cut much. Science check. Hold up 1 finger, point at self, point at them, hold up 5 fingers.
Now it's holding up an array of fully erect hand penises. If it tries to insert them, activate vivisectors. Dr. Klein, wait. I don't believe those gestures were random. Random at all. It's been following our conversation. The lobotomite understands us.
I agree with Boros's histrionic findings. This little lobotomite is unusually attentive for something whose brain has been extracted.
Nonsense! Lobotomites can't comprehend us. Lobotomite, do you understand me? Can you speak?
I think these dialogue trees are constructed so you eventually get all the information you need no matter what you pick, but just in case, why do I feel passive? I should be angry, really angry, and I'm not.
Those were words, weren't they? In the form of questions. It's asking me questions. Is this some kind of trick?
Wait. If what you're theorizing is this lobotomite understands us, can reason with us,
then this may be just the answer we've been looking for. At last, a chance to...
If it isn't my old colleagues, the mighty think tank of Big Mountain. Big fools, all of you. It is I, Dr. Mobius, transmitting from my dome-shaped dome in the Forbidden Zone. A zone that is, yes, forbidden to you! Even now, my deadly robo-scorpions swarm across Big Mountain with their pincers and pointy laser tails. Soon, all science will be mine! Even the technology sealed in the Big Mountain research centers cannot save you. So cower in your think tank. Wait for the end. That's all. Goodbye.
Mobius. Always the same broadcast. He's clearly mad, driven insane by his flawed and imprecise kindergarten-level research methodology. And Dr. Mobius mocks us. Did you see his cracked monitor? He's clearly let himself go.
What? Ask the lobotomite for help? Aid, I think you need the fluid levels in your logic assist pumps checked.
But what of its brain? We scooped that out. We don't even know where we left it. And for putting it back in, none of us have the knowledge.
Yes, but it's still aware and responsive. Look at it. It's regarding us even now, with its big teddy bear eyes. If we ask it politely, and leave the part about the unnecessary, ruthless lobotomizing out, it might be favorably disposed to us.
I admit the first time I played this I got a little bit confused because the dialogue interface always says Dr. Klein, even when it's someone else speaking. Which isn't a big problem for most of them, but Klein and Boros sound a lot alike to me. Short version, if it's all caps, it's Klein. Anyway, I'm skeptical that you removed my brain, given that I can still think and all.
We removed your brain, yes. So soft, barely wrinkled, yet so flush with knowledge and experience.
Once the brain was out, then came the coils. The Tesla coils. The coils of Nikola Tesla.
Brainless perk. Your brain has been replaced with advanced technologies. Your head can no longer be crippled and is resistant to chem addiction, 25% resist, and shock from bodily damage, plus 5% damage threshold, minimum plus 1. The bad news is the perk is bugged and the damage threshold calculations don't work in most cases. The good news is the one case where it does work is if the DT of your armor is less than 5, which mine is, to maximize speed and stealth. If you wear better armor than me, there's a fix for the perk on the Nexus, which I haven't tested myself, but supposedly works pretty well. Anyway.
Yeah, Aid, no need to brag. Wherever your brain is, it's transmitting thoughts to you through the
Tesla coils in its head.
This is fortunate in many respects. If your brain was anywhere in the dome, why, you could access your aggression centers.
Circumventing the pacification field. This is a no-no. We have never been in a fight. We do not want that.
Reminds me of my days in American High. And Richie Marcus.
Spoiler alert, that won't be the last time we hear the name Richie Marcus from Boros. But that still doesn't explain the laser sutures on my chest and spine.
Darla, was it necessary this time?
I assume full responsibility. I take my duties in the prodding and excision of living, breathing tissue quite seriously. Although in truth, the autodoc had done most of the work already. Quite industrious, almost cut into all my investigations. Once it had removed the brain and I misplaced it, other organs began to cry for direction, using your nerves as telegraph wires. Rather than let them send their signals, I removed them as well. Shh, little organs. Go to sleep in your tanks. Dala loves you.
First was the heart.
Heartless perk. The scars on your chest seem to confirm what the think tank is saying. You can't be poisoned, and filters in your artificial blood pump will regulate bleeding and healing, allowing all healing chems to function at a higher level, plus 25%. Robots are now confused by you and 50% less likely to score a critical hit. All of which is nice, but you had me at can't be poisoned. That reduces cazadores from an existential threat to a dangerous nuisance. Like the last episode of Honest Hearts, if it hadn't been for all the poison they stacked on me, I'm sure I could have survived that.
Wait, second was the heart. Brain was first. Third was the spine.
Spineless perk. Due to complications with the procedure, your spine has been replaced as well. Your torso can no longer be crippled, and your strength and damage threshold have been increased by +1, which is not bugged.
Spine. Totally overrated, that arrangement of vertebrae. Look at me, with my lumbar and thoracic curvature. Never had a use for any of that. Spineless is what I prefer.
Okay, your story checks out so far, but somebody needs to start talking about the elephant in the room. So you extracted my brain, fine, but what do you mean you misplaced it?
To be correct, you should say, the autodoc took out your brain. It did all the heavy lifting. It has never worked so hard before. It was unusual. It worked so hard on your surgery, it destroyed its own memory. How odd. I bet your brain remembers what happened.
That autodoc junk heap was one of Mobius's creations, like the rest of the talking scrap metal in the attic.
After that, the brain lost itself. Not in the metaphysical sense. Might have gotten flushed into one of the pipes. Actually, that's pretty likely.
By the Fisher of Rolando, enough of this biological surgery talk! Lobotomite, listen to my voice. It denominates me to ask, but we need your help. In most probable of probabilities, our enemy, Mobius, has your brain. This is not good. He will most likely come after our brains next. We want you to stop him, somehow, with science. We need these technologies. You need to get them. You must get them.
You are equipped to retrieve the technologies with your primitive form. We are not.
It's kind of embarrassing. You have hands, and a heartbeat, sort of, and eyes, mostly the hands. There's door handles and lockers and... Settle down, 8. I would have gotten it in a second, all right? 8's transmitted the last known coordinates of the research centers. They move sometimes, or get buried, or blow up.
8 is correct. All we need are the schematics. This does not mean we do not want the cold, hard technology, however. So do not give in to your biological tired laziness and decide you would sweat too much carrying them. You have a new spine. Use it.
What are these technologies?
The technologies are the X2 transmitter antenna array, used to focus coherent thought at excessively high frequencies.
The psychoanalytic, cardiac-dampening, sneaky stealth suit. A suit like nothing this world has ever heard, seen, or could ever see.
And 8's sonic soundwave emitter projectile gun, able to broadcast sound at lethal frequencies. It also gives a great biogel massage.
Guess I'd better get walking then.
Ah, that is correct. You must walk upon your many penised feet, much slower than our advanced hovering robotical frames.
The little teddy bear could always run right into the pylon perimeter on its thick, turgid feet, returning it to us quickly and directly.
A pylon perimeter that returns me back here? Yeah, I gotta say, that sounds suspiciously like I can't leave.
The radar fence that surrounds the big mountain crater will protect you from straying beyond the facility.
The mighty radar fence protects us all. Get too close to the blinking posts, and the proximity warning shall be your warning. You are too close.
If you get near it, your vision will blur as the electrodes in your head shut off one by one. Click, click, click.
You see, if rendered unconscious by the pylons, you will be returned to the sink, seemingly instantaneously by your deadened perceptions.
Look, I have no idea where I am in relation to New Vegas, so it's not like I'd try leaving on foot. But hypothetically, why can't you go out there and shut them down?
Out there? We're not going out there. It's dangerous. We're smart, not suicidal.
Oh, Dr. Klein? Dr. Klein? If I may intersect for a moment.
What is it? The lobotomite is asking me things, and I'm trying to ignore them. My processors can't ignore you both at the same time.
Well, you know how we asked it to fetch the sonic emitter thing? Turns out we already have it. What are the odds?
What is this, a high school science fair? Get your act together. You're making us look like a collection of round earthers.
You're always yelling. My receptors can't take it anymore. And neither can my feelings.
I am yelling because you contaminated specimens can't keep your probes off the volume knob on my voice module.
Well, that was easy. I mean, if you have the gun already, I don't understand what you need.
It is truly the end of all intelligence when the lobotomite speaks more wisdom than you geniuses. So, if we have the sound wave, sonic projecto thing gun, then what in Heisenberg's name do we need from X8? Anyone?
I believe we need a new frequency embedded into the gun. It was designed to broadcast many sounds once charged. We just don't know the frequency.
And it is lost in X8, just as X8 is forever lost to us. The sadness of my high school days, the sadness of my youth lost.
Oh, really, Boros? All you did in high school was call me Fink Tattletale and all the kids you hated, you little teacher's pet brown hound.
Give the lobotomite the emitter. Does it have an audio effect frequency loaded? What is he doing?
I think he's sonjaculating into the gun, getting it warmed up. Ding. Turkey's done.
You give it to the lobotomite. I'm not touching that thing.
Oh, I don't think so.
I'll do it if you two are going to be ashamed of your own technological needs. Let me give it a little sonic sterilization first. Ooh. All right. All antibacterial fresh. Here, my little teddy bear. I have thoroughly removed all Robco terminlink code spew from the device. It is clean, shiny, and ready for your hands.
Skill check for some free XP and extra ammo won't hurt. Energy cells have a high expenditure rate. Some extra reserve cells could offset that.
Yes, I believe Watt's Electronics tended to make the battery shelf life on the low end.
They certainly did. Batteries for my vivisectors would always come up short right before a climax.
I think Watts manufactured holodiscs. Or was it holotapes? Never can keep those two straight. Anyway, we're out of small energy cells. Dala? You have some? Why do we... Actually, never mind. I don't even want to know.
And another one with gun skill. This sonic gun looks like an energy projectile. Got anything that spits lead?
What did it say? Spit lead? What, like pencils?
Oh, I think it wants a combustion pistol.
A gun? Are you mad? We can't give it a gun. Guns kill. Leave big open holes in you that are like sores, but worse.
Dr. 8 is correct. We already have given the teddy bear a lethal sonic death ray, filled with his sonic ejaculate and sterilized by my soft oohing. Giving the teddy bear a gun would be the equivalent of following a glass of hemlock with an Abraxo chaser. Delicious and redundantly deadly.
If we're going to bring the Socratic method into it, fine. Give the Lobato bear a combustion gun. Burroughs, don't you have something like that?
Are you mad? We can't give it a gun. Guns... Wait, I said that already. Yes, I have the Cyberdog gun, with the little floppy metal ears and the curious nose sensor. Here.
Fine. Done. That gun makes me uncomfortable anyway. Always worried it's going to hump my chassis. Anything else, lobotomite?
One more. This gun looks really hungry. I'd like to make sure it gets fed lots of bullets.
Fine. Boros, more ammo. The good stuff.
Top shelf ammunition. Let's see. Hollow point? That's worthless, but tasty. Oh, and here's some JFP. As if bullets need jackets. The JFP might make it ill and poop a lot, but when you're hungry, you're hungry.
The Cyberdog gun and ammo have been sterilized too, right?
The sonic emitter should be sterilized and more than enough for you to encircle your warm hands around, cradling it gently with your finger muscles.
Careful where you're pointing that. That device wasn't always a weapon. It was more like a force field kind of thing. Once.
The sonic emitter was specially designed to disable our own safety fields here in Big Mountain. When some of us lost our access passes, Dr. O.
That only happened once. And I know you were behind stealth fielding my lab keys, Dala. You formographer.
Dr. O, you rewind that comment.
Plenty of rewinding already going on in your formography tapes. Surprised the things don't snap out of their cases with repeated observations.
And as funny as that is, all of their personality quirks are important to the plot if you want the good ending. So this gun you gave me can disable force fields?
Yes. Maybe. Well, no, not currently.
Yeah, we lost that part of the schematics. Or Boros did, in one of the stupid labs. Or inside one of the stupid pets.
It is lost. All questions lead to this conclusion. The blue fields within Big Mountain shall be fielded with force. Forever.
As we already either have or will soon have a quest objective for that schematic, he is 100% wrong. And while I'm certainly not opposed to searching for super weapons, I do have a business to run. Can we please hurry?
Fine, so, yes, get these things for us. Do not attempt to comprehend their complicated schematics. That is for us to do.
Of course, you can just do as he asks and ignore everything else in the crater, but A, where's the fun in that? And B, super weapons. Oh, I'll be sure not to tamper with anything. I promise.
Well, good. What are the token words spoken in this case? Thank you? Yes. Thank you.
Wait, is it leaving? But, Dr. Klein, the lobotomite will need rest, recuperation, things like that. I volunteer my chambers, so it might be stared at. My monitor radar slowly scanning its form to collect sensitive data.
No! That would put it too close to us. It could press buttons, turn lights on and off, and worse, let other lobotomites in.
We could give it Mobius's old room. That's where its brain got scooped out anyway. And plus some of its parts are already there. Might be more comforting for it to hang out with its spine and heart. Home is where the heart is, after all. See what I did there? Wet literal.
I suppose. We'll have to move that couch out of there. Been putting that off too long.
H says, let the lobotomite take the Sync Central Intelligence personality chip and reinstall it. That stuffy Mobius program Butler can walk the lobotomite, feed it, barter with it for us.
It would also prevent it from going to Higgs Village and taking up residence there. With my teddy bears. And it would be nice to have it so close.
Your logic, combined with my desire to keep the think tank lobotomite free, has swayed me. Here, I present the Sync Central Intelligence. Lobotomite, take this chip to the sink, plug it in, and make sure the chip is clean, or it could skip. Then make whatever crude biologic demands you need of the sink. It will cater to most of your hormonal whims.
I don't think either one of these locks you out of the other, but caps are a lower priority. This chip looks like it was mass-produced. Are there other chips?
Are there other chips?
Are you echoing what he said, or are you asking for real?
He's asking, yes. Dr. Klein, there are many other personalities. If you recall, you hurled them off the sink balcony after your argument with Mobius.
Good, we still do get the barter check. I can trade with the Sync Intelligence, then I'll need something to activate that function, won't I?
I cannot dispute your logic. Do we have objects to activate the chip's exchange routines?
What, like stuff? Things?
Yes, things.
I don't know. Might be some old Nuka-Cola or Sunset Sarsaparilla bottle caps lying around. It's not currency per se. Still might be enough to trick the Sync's trade routines. Mobius put that test line for caps in the code as a debug command, I think.
I don't believe that was Mobius's reason. His wild speculation concerning post-Holocaust economic systems was quite extensive and of high decibel.
Enough! Surrender these so-called bottle caps, Nuka and Sunset alike. In their role as things, they will serve as adequate test subjects.
All right, here, cap away. Hope that stupid chip chokes on them.
One more, 75. I'd hate to come back and ask for more. A little extra would guarantee you're not disturbed.
If I were not as intelligent as I am, I would feel as if perhaps I'm being tricked. Impossible. Oh, more.
Why don't you make the lobotomite a bottle cap factory, Klein? Or better yet, give it a ton of things to activate the chip.
And the hardest, 90. Hold on, let's be logical about this. I don't need a ton, just as much as I can carry in trade.
Again, the logic of the request is clear. Tonnage is not needed, only adequate weight. Everyone, display your things.
I do not understand, yet I am intrigued by this potential display.
All right, let's consolidate. There's got to be some junk around here. Magazines, useless. More caps, medicinal supplies, useless. Here.
And like he said, this time we get more caps and some useful supplies. Alright, having a store available would be helpful. It has a store connection, right?
Yes, you may need to wiggle it in a bit, but don't force it. We can't recode them if you break it. There is no more we can do to aid you, and our patience levels are depleted. Now go. Rest in the sink if you must, but leave us to our research.
If you're done, can we move again? My biogel's starting to crampagulate.
Of course! Go man your science stations! Go! I am surrounded by children.
Now, technically, the pacification field wouldn't work on a companion because they don't have a Tesla coil in their head, but they won't start trouble even if you have them set to be aggressive because the brains aren't flagged as hostile. And while the brains don't have a comment like, hey, there's that other captive, the one that got away, it does make their alarmed reaction when you talk to them more reasonable. I mean, they abducted you, why does it freak them out that you're here? We'll eventually discover the real reason they're so absent-minded, no pun intended. And that's related to what I love so much about this DLC. Two of my favorite things about the Fallout franchise as a whole are the dark humor and the retro-futuristic alternate universe setting. You know, what if the future actually turned out to be like what pop culture in the mid-20th century thought the future would be like? And Old World Blues totally nails both without compromising either. Like, at first, you think maybe it's just a joke that these people who were supposedly the best minds of their age are actually kind of idiots. And it is pretty damn funny. But later we'll pick up clues that completely recontextualize all that. And I'm getting way ahead of myself. Right now, we can see that the rooms with the brain's charging stations all have some relevance to their personalities and/or scientific specialties. This is O's room, so it has electronics and robotics kind of stuff. This is Dala's room. Mannequins, fancy clothes, a mirror for checking herself out, teddy bears, of course. She mentions having more at her old house in Higgs Village that she didn't want us to see, so we'll definitely go check that out. This is Klein's room. Very neat and orderly, as you'd expect from the director or chief administrator, as he seems to have been.
Have you done all we asked? If not, we will not hesitate to ask again.
It's pretty well established at this point that I don't respond well to threats, but that really wasn't. This is 8's room. He's the Soundwave guy, so he has all kinds of audio and communication equipment. I mean, there's the whole abduction and forced surgery thing, but unlike Elijah, whose fate was decided after knowing him less than 2 minutes, I'm already feeling some degree of sympathy for the brains before even starting to dig into their stories. And this is Boros' room. He's the biologist, so there are animal cages and such. But over here, also this, a display case added by the crossover module. This anti-gravity display case suspends a vintage Lollipops magazine within a pure nitrogen atmosphere to preserve it in pristine condition. It might be worthwhile to investigate Big Mountain for more clues about why this issue is so important to Dr. Boris. That's one of several ways you can start an unmarked quest to acquire the magazine in the display case. And last of all, on the end here, we have Dr. Mobius' room. Not the room they were talking about letting me stay in a minute ago. They meant the sink, which is what they call the penthouse apartment that we saw when we first came in. I'm pretty sure that's where Mobius lived when he was still human, and this room here is where he lived after the scientists had their brains transplanted into their current robot bodies. Here's a picture of them before. It was also used in the opening slideshow. I was never sure who was who, except Dala, because she's the only woman. But according to the Fallout Wiki, from left to right, it's Dala, O, Boros, Klein, 8, and Mobius. Anyway, canon sources are kind of vague about the timeline, and some people think Mobius lived in the sink after he was transplanted, but the presence of a charging station here and a real bed and other human comforts there make me think he probably moved here after he no longer needed those things. And why he left here is part of the mystery that we're going to solve. And now I'm gonna rob 'em blind. There's quite a bit of ammo and other useful supplies in containers scattered around the level, but after a half hour of straight dialogue, I'm not going to put you through watching me loot. Unless I find anything interesting or unexpected, I'll see you back at the sink. Two things of note on this table on O's side of the room. A deluxe chemistry set, which you can use to make useful chems, but I don't need anything at the moment, so I'll save it in case I need it later. But more importantly, on the end, and easy to miss because the pacification field doesn't let you zoom in, Dr. Klein's glasses. They boost science and intelligence, so they're some of the best glasses in the game, even better if you have the 4 Eyes perk, which I don't. They're a unique item if you're into collecting, which I am, and they're required to complete a fairly obscure challenge, which I hope I'll remember the rest of. Alright, I think we can go back to the sink now. If I'm right, yes, that door that was locked earlier is now open. They didn't want to give away the big secret before you talk to the brains, but your body parts are in here. Well, 2 out of 3. Here is your spine. Without a brainstem to snap it onto, here it floats. Your back doesn't feel any different from the spine's removal. If anything, whatever was placed in there makes you feel stronger. Over here, this is your heart. Apparently, cranial surgery complications required its removal, and until your brain is returned, your heart can't be trusted to keep beating in your body. Your new heart seems to be working just fine, however. And the empty one. Based on the other tanks in the room, you can safely assume this is where your brain would be floating. It's currently missing from both the tank and its proper place in your head, but you seem to be doing just fine without it. Which is quite odd, I have to admit. There's the Cyberdog gun, which, as the name implies, seems to be controlled by an actual dog brain. And you can see its little ears flapping there. So, kind of cute and kind of deeply disturbing. But the biggest drawback to me is it's heavy. It is powerful, but it really burns through ammo, and it takes .357 Magnum, which isn't light either. I can't justify using half my carry capacity on one gun and the ammo for it, no matter how good it is, so I'm afraid it's going in the footlocker. Dr. Klein's glasses, already talked about them. The patient gown they put on us when we arrived, useless except as a fashion statement. Programmer's Digest. Why is there a book in the footlocker? I'm putting stuff I'm keeping as souvenirs in here. Scientist glove, not bad if you're into unarmed, but I'm not. And scientist scrubs, which buff science and intelligence, potentially useful for some characters to pass related skill checks, but those are both already maxed for Courier Jeff, so I don't need to carry that around. And don't forget to drop off the Cyberdog gun. And there's the sonic emitter. The display on back changes depending on what sound sample you have installed, but right now I only have the one. It's not a bad weapon either, and some of the upgrades make it really good, but in the near future I probably won't be using it much in combat, more for disabling force fields once I find that upgrade, so 100 energy cells should be plenty for now. On the bright side, before I discovered the companion glitch / feature, there was going to be a running gag about wanting to get home because I was abducted right in front of Kakata, but now I can take my time exploring without guilt.
What's up?
One of us should probably stay here to keep an eye on the brains and try to figure out what they're up to, while the other gathers technology so they don't get suspicious. Any chance you'd want to run a few errands out in the crater while I snoop around here? Never mind. I'm the protagonist. I'll go.
Don't be long, prickly pear.
Hopefully I won't be. See ya.
See you later.
A gadget that disables force fields sounds like something I want to have sooner rather than later. Might save me some backtracking if I get it first. And getting the autodock running is a top priority, and I think they're both in the same general area, so if I'm right, we'll head there first and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Oh, map marker. What quest is active? Well, that's the right one. Oh, I have to install the central intelligence chip so it can track the others. They said something about that, and I forgot. The sonic emitter upgrade is in X8, which is down there, and one of the main quests is there too, so we might as well kill 3 birds with 1 stone, or at least get a head start on that. X8, High School Horror. But right now I need to make sure I'm right about where the sonic emitter upgrade is, so let's upgrade the central intelligence.
Salutations and felicitations, sir, and a most jocund welcome to the sink. I am your electronic valet and household central processor. May I be of service, sir?
What services do you provide exactly?
In addition to managing the personality matrices of the other household utilities, I can provide, sir, with direct access to the commissary. Any goods Sir might require may be purchased through my shopkeep interface, whence tiny robots shall deliver them forthwith to this very domicile.
I don't think I actually need to buy anything at the moment, since the game lets you keep your stuff when you start the DLC, but it won't hurt to see what it has in its inventory.
Very good, sir. If I might suggest a table wine, the 64 Atomic Claret is a lovely little vintage.
Pretty good selection, but small quantities, so I might have to do some reloading and or crafting before this is all over.
A most rapturous good morrow on your return to your domicile, sir. I trust you shall find things in order and the riff-raff contained.
All right. I know it seems like we didn't get much done yet, but I think I'm going to call it a day. I have a feeling I'm not going to want to cut much of that conversation with the brains, so I probably have a full episode's worth of footage already. But don't worry, next week things will probably get pretty exciting pretty quick. And yes, we do now have a map marker for the autodock chip too. And the biological research station and the sink. The actual sink where you can get water, not the sink as in the name of the penthouse apartment. But the autodock and the sonic emitter upgrade to disable force fields are the top priorities. And they are basically right beside each other. Yes, there's X8 right there. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.